that does not perform as well as some of the other methods that we teach people how to use and set up. Reporting live from the Women with Paid Ads podcast, there is an update that Meta has made. And so what Meta is saying with this new Andromeda update is give us more creatives, give us more messages so that we can match the messages and creatives better to the people in the audience that you're selecting. So my client sent me a message and she was freaking out for a second. She was like, hey, I'm at this event and someone just told me that manual targeting on Meta is completely gone. She was like, what do we do? And I was like, I have good news for you. It's not gone. It's still there. Now they hide it. They constantly hide it. But here's what I want us to think about when you think about targeting. And there's two types of targeting, right? So there's manual targeting where you have more control. There is automated targeting, which is where the machine, the AI, is finding your targeting for you. Now, I have been doing ads all day, every day for over a decade, okay? And what I've done is I've taught and developed a method based on what has worked and not worked, and I teach that to my clients. And what I have found is 90 to 95% of the time, the manual targeting actually performs better. So the way that I structure it, in my opinion, no one else does it this way, but also no one else has experienced the volume of revenue passing through and the different channels that I've worked with. And so I've really been able to master how should we set it up so that we can segment and know what's working, what's not. Now, listen, here's what I'm not. I am not against Advantage. They call it Advantage, Meta Advantage. I'm not against Advantage, more automated AI targeting. And there's actually 4 buckets that automated targeting can kind of fall into. So number 1 is the first bucket is budget. You can use Advantage budget where you're basically saying, hey, Meta, pick the way the budget should be spent. Then there's audience, which is letting Meta pick the audience. Then there's placement, which is letting Meta pick where you place your ads. And then there is creative, which is letting Meta pick the creative for your ads. So there's kind of those 4 layers of cake with Advantage. And then there's manual. And some of our secret sauce at our company that our clients know is how we leverage the AI and Advantage with the manual. And so what I won't be able to do today is go into that because that is what is in like a 5-hour section of our training program on just Meta with how we do our targeting and why and who it's best for and what type of campaigns you could use that for, how to set it up and how to optimize it. There's so much that goes into it. It's not like, oh, every campaign you just click these 3 things. No, that's kind of where we're the last place that people stop sometimes. It's like, they try a bunch of agencies, they try a bunch of free ads trainings, they learn from somebody that learned 5 minutes ago, and then they're like, oh wait, I really want a quality solution. I want the more in-depth, more strategic, more personalized strategy. That's what we have to offer, and that's why it's not a 5-minute video because there's so much more that goes into it. But what I can say is there is a benefit to being manual and also using the smart like AI Advantage. Now, one thing that I've seen is the AI, the more Advantage type of strategy tends to, of the 10% of the time that I see it work really well, tends to be more product-based businesses. Now I absolutely have, this is what I'm saying, I absolutely do have some service-based businesses that have benefited from the Advantage side. It's just that 90% of the time, that does not perform as well as some of the other methods that we teach people how to use and set up. And so what Meta wants you to do is spend more money. And they're like, let me figure it out for you. But I can tell you for a fact, with utter certainty, for all of the events that I've ran this past year, all of them, that audience of letting Meta figure it out has performed the worst. And so what's crazy is so many people that have set up ads in the past, they don't know how to do this one versus this one. They don't know Advantage versus manual. They don't know when to use one of those 4 categories or how to make sure it's working and what's not. So they're either doing it manual or automated and it's not working, and then they don't know what to do. Like, I don't know why it's not working. Agencies will tell people that sometimes. They'll be like, I really don't know. Like, we're doing it. We're letting Meta figure it out. And it's like, no, what if there was a way that you could have a lever to mix letting Meta figure it out versus you manually being able to test? Now, there is a new update. Okay, so this is actually breaking news, reporting live from the Women with Paid Ads podcast. There is an update that Meta has made, and it is about layer number 4 of the cake, which is Andromeda. So Andromeda is about creative. And one of the things that Andromeda is saying is they want more creative variations. And all that really means is when you are setting up your audience, which is the targeting, which is why in the Win with Paid Ads challenge, we spend a whole day on just targeting. And by the way, if you haven't signed up for the challenge, you need to click the link below the video because we dive in. It's 5 days of training, 5 days of feedback. It's invaluable in my opinion. And also the opinions of hundreds, if not thousands of entrepreneurs who have joined. But we dig into this. But when you think of the layer of the cake that is targeting, then you have the creative. Because there's 3 layers, right? There's campaign, which is your budget and your goal. There is the ad set or ad group, which is where your targeting lies. Then there is your creative, which is where your videos or your statics, your message lies. I just wanted to remind you really quickly that if you haven't joined the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, the doors are closing soon. And just as a refresher, this is 5 days of you and or someone on your team learning my 5-part strategy to scale your paid ads. So day 1 is messaging, which is what you say and how you say it. Day 2 is setting, which is all the different places you can place your ads. Think Google ads versus YouTube, Meta, or TikTok. Day 3 is targeting, which is how you can get in front of your exact right person. Day 4 is testing, so you can know what to test and how to improve your ads. And day 5 is scaling and profiting and how you can 10x whatever you're spending on your ads now so that you can have more profit and return and impact, which is ultimately what you want, right? So click the link below and I cannot wait to see you in the Win with Paid Ads Challenge. And so what Meta is saying with this new Andromeda update is give us more creatives, give us more messages so that we can match the messages and creatives better to the people in the audience that you're selecting. Now, Meta wants you to select their audience more often, but what I teach is just different. And so, but at the end of the day, I'm still aligning with Meta and saying, hey, if they're going to say we're going to customize the creative more, by all means, let's give them more creative to customize for the audience that we're targeting, whether we're doing it manually or letting Meta figure it out. So I actually just gave a State of the Union to my clients very recently about my opinion and how we're going to structure it and adjust our method because we are, if we're anything, we are versatile, we're flexible, we take feedback. And I'm like, hey, I'm not going to go against some of these things that of how Meta is working. What I will say is as someone who's been behind the scenes, I do know after doing this for so long that there are things that the algorithm wants everybody to do. And they're like, do this, do this, do this. And I've seen it not perform as well. So there are ways that you can structure it to perform better. And that's what we do. But at the end of the day, let's go back to the heart of the question of what happens if manual targeting goes away. Well, let's think about this from a business perspective. 97% of Meta's revenue comes from ads. So if manual targeting went away and 90% of people who are seeing results from ads were doing manual targeting and that went away, and they actually had to let Meta figure out how that ad was going to figure out who that audience was going to go to. If that didn't work and the performance was worse, people would pull their money from Meta. They would say, no, this is not performing anywhere like since you had those original settings. They would pull the money and they would reallocate it. And my clients would be excited because they're like, thank God I know how to do more than just Facebook and Instagram ads. They would say, yay, I'll just trust Pinterest or TikTok or LinkedIn or YouTube or Amazon or Google or one of the other ChatGPT or one of these other places. But that's why I believe that what Meta wouldn't want is to see people taking their money and reallocating it to other platforms because they lose money. So and Meta uses their pixel to track data and performance, they would see that the performance is weakening. They can see the data and be like, hey, ever since we made this update, performance is down and people are taking their money out. And they would be like, oh crap, we need money for this business and we don't want to have to lay off half of the workforce. We're going to just reinstate and say, hey, you know what? We were just kidding. Manual targeting is back. People can change their mind in business any day and every day, and they're going to respond to behavior and performance. So if the behavior and the performance indicate that people are shifting, then Meta would change that, right? So I truly believe even if it went away, like it'd actually be a good thing. It'd probably challenge you to have another revenue or like lead source for your business that you could use. And how cool if you were able to sleep and be cool as a cucumber when that happened because you know how to actually have ads on other platforms work for you. That would be advantageous for you, pun intended. But I really do believe it would come back because at the end of the day, they want you to perform because they know that when your ads are performing, you will spend more. Exactly. So not worried about manual targeting away, not worried even if it did or if it didn't because there's so many advantages. So I hope that helps clean up some of the hesitations and questions that you might have heard about, is that going to go away or not? So at the end of the day, what I really want you to do is just diversify. I want you to be able to diversify where you're spending your money on your ads, on what platform, so that you don't have a heart attack and panic when Meta makes a change. You need to be like, hey, we're going to be good. And also just know that they're a business too. The last thing they want is to see a bunch of revenue flocking and flying away. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Just a little short episode for you on about manual targeting versus advantage and how you can think about it if that were to go away. But I just wanted to confirm that indeed it is still possible to do manual targeting. And if someone has told you differently, they likely are not meaning to intentionally not give you factual information. They likely just don't have the depth of skill to know how to actually still manipulate the system to be able to give you the opportunity to target manually. All right, so here's what's coming up on the next episode of the Win with Paid Ads podcast. So next up, we have a little bit of behind the scenes of the short-term rental project that my husband and I have been working on. And we're going to talk about how we're advertising directly to this new short-term rental. And there's just more to come behind the scenes that we've been working on. And everybody keeps saying, where's Kyle on another episode? So I'm like, give the people what they want. He's funny, he's fun, and he is going to share a little bit about his process and his role in the short-term rental, my role. And I'm even going to share with you how Rose, my executive assistant, has been able to support us in the new acquisition of the short-term rental and how we're advertising to it directly. So get excited and make sure you grab your ticket to the Win with Paid Ads Challenge below. Go advertise your name, make it rain, and I will see you on the next episode.